Did you know that up until 1937, medical cannabis was the most widely prescribed medicine in Western medicine? All the doctors in the US, all the doctors in Europe were prescribing medical cannabis, and that stopped with the years of prohibition. Let me now take you to 2014. Beautiful boy, Sunshine Coast Sam Martin passed away from terminal cancer, 8-year-old Sam. A year later, in 2015, my wife and I were having dinner with his family, and we learned that they'd gone to Byron Bay. This was before medical cannabis was in Australia. They'd gone to Byron Bay and it had helped Sam towards the end of his journey. It had improved his quality of life. I vowed then that when the laws changed, we had to help Aussie patients. Medical cannabis, Medifarm's advanced medical cannabis is back, and Medifarm is the first company in Australia to acquire all the licences to grow Aussie medical cannabis for Aussie patients. So why we do this is to help the Aussie patient. How we do this is a turnkey solution. I believed we had to partner with the best from overseas. Tikkun Olam, an Israeli global medical cannabis pioneering company, has been in this business for well over a decade. And so from plant to patient, we have the best brains and we have the best strains. And so what we do under licence, federal licence, we cultivate, we produce, we manufacture, all in the same facility, prescription medical cannabis for Aussie patients. As you can see, Tikkun Olam is now a global company. I saw enough Aussie patients or their equivalents in Canada, in America, being treated that I knew that once we'd formed an exclusive relationship, we had a duty of care. We're now under cultivation, not far from where we sit today. If I took you in the car 20 minutes later, you'd be at our medical cannabis farm. But what's interesting and what's unique is the genetics. These genetics are purpose-bred for medical conditions. If you come into our greenhouse, you will see plenty of cannabis plants, plenty of medical cannabis plants, but row 1 is for epilepsy. Row 2 are the genetics purpose-bred for chronic pain. So you can see there's a big difference between medical cannabis and the rest of cannabis that people tend to focus on. The Australian experience to date, this is a prescription medicine. It may be news to you, if you're a doctor. But this is a Schedule 8 medicine that you go to your doctor, and if this is the right medicine and you're the right patient under prescription, you pick it up from the pharmacy. The federal government, through the TGA, the Therapeutic Goods Administration, has already authorised thousands of prescriptions for people who have pain, nausea and vomiting associated to chemotherapy and other cancer-related therapies. Epilepsy. There are 300,000 Australians who suffer epilepsy. 100,000, 1/3 of them, have no solution. There is significant clinical evidence to demonstrate the efficacy of medical cannabis with epilepsy. Spasticity, palliative care, the list goes on. You actually only need to scratch back to 1937 in the medical books to see a window into the future of where medical cannabis is going. So at our facility, under GMP, Good Manufacturing Facilities Practices, we are producing and will be producing to market in July. We have the largest global patient database under treatment through our partnership with Tikkun Olam, and there are well over now 40,000 patients globally. What that does is give Aussie doctors the confidence to talk to their peers, to talk to international experts, to say, look, I'm new at this in Australia, but can you help me? Which is normal. That's what good doctors do with their peers. We also have an amazing amount of global research. So again, if you think about the genetics, these purpose-bred genetics backed by the clinical trials, it's one thing to hear a company say, we've got a fabulous product here, I promise you that the clinical trials equal this and that. But when you drive further and deeper beyond that to the genetics of the plants, this is when it truly becomes amazing. So the Medifarm supply chain, we are a turnkey solution. So yes, we grow it. Yes, we harvest, dry, extract, and then produce the oils in the bottles. But again, if you were to go to your doctor under prescription, you would purchase it from a pharmacy as you would any other prescription medicine. Australia is one of only 6 countries in the world that can export into this $50 billion industry. Australia's one of only 6. So there's a big domestic market and there's an even bigger international market, and Medipharm is poised to move on that. But we are treating the Aussie patient first. So our timeline, to recap: in 2015 I founded Medipharm. In 2016 the laws changed and we signed an exclusive arrangement for IP and genetics, brains and strains with Tikkun Olam. 2017 we were the first company in Australia to be awarded the full suite of licenses which allow us to grow, produce and manufacture medical cannabis. 2018 we finished our facility, and 2019 we're currently growing and we'll have product ready by July. The finances behind it, there are only 6 companies, no matter what you hear in the press. This is a pretty popular topic at the moment, but there are only 6 companies that have the necessary commercial licenses in Australia. We're the only private one, the other 5 are public. And so at the moment our 2019 expected revenue will be, 2019 that is 21 million. Just to put it in perspective, over 200,000 Australians currently still going to the black market, waiting for local regulated high quality medical cannabis to come online. 200,000 for a revenue of 21 million, that's 5,000 patients. And yet it is affordable, accessible medicine. We're already ramping up, so by 2020 we'd expect a 3-fold increase. As mentioned, the Australian market, and we are here to help Aussie patients first, is around the 1 billion mark, and that should be in the next 3 years. Five-year international market is 55 billion. These are very big numbers. We're here to get today right, we're here to get tomorrow right. If you are a key health influencer, if you're a researcher with clinical or agricultural areas of interest, I'd welcome your contact, and if you're an investor, also please say hello. Thank you very much.